Hello YouTube, my name is Paul, hope you're keeping well. This is probably my third take making this video. I've had the postman knock on the door and they do only ring twice before they piss off. And I forgot my bloody props on my games to show you, which I've now got. So yeah, so the video basically is the pickups I got from Walsall. Some were gifts and some were actual pickups. The Grail title, which you guys have probably been waiting to see, possibly for quite some time. 7 months in the making this has been. But yeah, so before we get into all that, we'll talk about the journey briefly. A journey that should have only taken about 4.5 hours, which turned into 9 hours. So I set off from home about 11 o'clock because I was intending originally to leave about 9. So I think to Mike's delight, I didn't leave until about 11 o'clock. Hoping to get to him about 1:30, which would have been ideal really. So yeah, so I took the missus's car because my car is due its service and its timing belt changed, so I thought I don't want to risk it really. So I took the other car, drove up. The first 12 miles took an hour. The amount of holiday makers leaving the county and the amount of holidays coming in is quite staggering this time of year, especially on a Friday, which is kind of like changeover day. Sort of Fridays and Mondays are terrible if you're going to drive down this way. So yeah, by the time I got to Mike, from leaving at about 11:15 by the time I left the petrol station, must have got to his about 3:30. And he don't live that far away from me. I mean, I live in Cornwall, he lives just outside Bristol, so you would think it shouldn't take that long. So I got to Mike after a while. Well, he was panicking for a little bit because my phone isn't connected to the car. It's not my car, so I didn't answer it. So I think he was getting a bit panicky, wondering what's going on. So I finally got there about 3:30, popped up to Mike's quickly to collect some bags, like luggage and gifts he was giving out. I was bloody staggered by the size of that guy's collection. Absolutely couldn't believe what I was seeing. He's got stuff all over the gaff. I'll tell you that. Absolutely a massive collection. You hardly see, well, you hardly see very much of it at all in the videos that he shows. So it'd be amazing one day for him to kind of show you his collection really, because it's absolutely bloody awesome. So yeah, we finally set off to head towards Old School Variety Faces place. That's a bit of a mouthful. Old School's gaff, Old School's manor, Old School's yard. But yeah, I mean that again shouldn't have taken that long, but the thing is there's a lot of traffic on the M5 due to upgrading the central reservation barriers. I think they turned them all bloody concrete or something. But there's about 3 stops like that where it literally slowed down to a crawl. Or 3 parts, sorry. But yeah, so we headed towards the West Midlands. Got a bit lost because by the time we got to the West Midlands, both of our phones are flat. We drove literally by the Bescott Stadium, or whatever it's called nowadays, Walsall Stadium. You can see it literally over the bridge. So I assume we was in the wrong location. So we started getting hold of Old School to find out where the bloody hell we live, because we've got no sat nav or anything like that. So Binty came to the rescue, and I tell you something, they've got the patience of a saint. We rang up probably about 6 times, going, where the bloody hell are you? No, we didn't say that really. We got lost. But yeah, it was great. So by the time we finally got to Old School and Binty's place, which must have been about 8:15, we were both a little bit tired. Old School's waiting outside to greet us with Binty as well, to pick up, obviously take the bags in and say hello, which is lovely. And one thing about the pair of them, they're really good hosts, excellent hosts. They make you feel at ease. Couldn't do enough for you. It was absolutely fantastic. And the first thank you really goes to both Old School and Binty for absolutely, well, everything really. The meal was fantastic. It tasted like you just got it straight from a curry house. Brilliant. And I know Pete uses authentic ingredients to go into it as well, which is amazing. So yeah, we had our curry. Mike brought down a couple of bottles of champagne, got some ciders and some beers and that. We just sort of chatted and played a bit of PS4, and Old School showed us around his warehouse, if you like, his stock room. If you've not seen Old School Variety Faces videos before, I mean they are out there for definite, and it might offend, but he does it for fun. People take it a little bit serious, and his videos are great. I love them. They make me laugh. And he's got a second channel which is to do with reselling, and I will leave links in the description box below. But he does a lot of reselling, and it's quite clever when you think about it, because there's so many different things out there to buy, to sell. You've got to know what you're doing. And he was showing me a couple of really old stereo systems, like ghetto blasters. I mean, one of them was from the 80s, still box new, and one of them was probably from the 70s, box new. It's unbelievable the stuff you find out there. But yeah, it's great to get a bit of an insight really as to why or what these guys do. But yeah, Animal as well. Forgot to mention Animal. Lovely dog, really lovely temperament, I tell you that. But he is strong as an ox, I tell you. Playing with Animal, I really took my bloody arm out of his socket. But yeah, he's such a lovely dog. Lovely. But it's great to spend that time with old school Binty Animal. I know Mike was really looking forward to it because Mike and Pete are really good friends, so it was great. It was really good. So I went to bed in the wee hours, something around about 3:30. So yeah, finally got to sleep. I actually went to sleep straight away really, which is strange for me being in someone else's gaff. I'm usually a bit like But I woke up about 8:30 and I thought I drifted in and out of sleep for the next hour and a half really. So I think by the time we had breakfast, got ready and all the rest of it to leave to go to the event, it must have been about 1 o'clock I would say. It was early afternoon anyway. So we got on in the car, Pete gave us directions. So we ain't got a clue where we're going. Our phones have been fully charged, but yeah. We finally got to the event. Yeah, it must have been around 2 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock maybe. It's not too far away. So we got there. Bumped into Stu, UK, in the car park. He looked really well. He looked nice and tanned. Looked like he lost a bit of weight. He's looking well. So where you been? In the conservatory. So yeah, right, whatever. But no, he looked really well to be honest. And Cindy Steve was out there with his bag of bits that he just picked up. I'm sure he had some Amiga games in his hand at the time, but yeah, brilliant. It was brilliant to see Steve. I've never met Steve before, but I have met Stu at Blackpool. And Rob as well. I mean, Rob I met at Blackpool, really nice bloke, really quiet, kind of unassuming guy. He kind of speaks, I suppose, when he's got something to say, and that's really nice. But yeah, lovely bloke, Rob. Again, I don't know Rob that well, but I know Rob and Stu probably came up together, more likely to the event. So we left the car park after nattering for about 5 minutes. Went straight into sort of like the trading hall. So by the time you got into the event, so obviously give your ticket in or get your ticket scanned, get your hand stamped, sort of pop into the event. And the first thing you sort of see really is a large screen on your left hand side where they're doing sort of 1v1 fighting competitions with like Street Fighter and stuff like that. And to the right hand side then you've got loads of market stalls. Now I know Sega Zombie's done an excellent video on Revival, so I'll also leave that in the link in the description below. Pop and see his videos. He's got a lot of great footage from a montage at the end to see what it's like. But on the right hand side literally you've got a load of traders, and in the middle you had sort of like the exhibits, I guess, sort of old machines set up with old monitors. You can play the games. At the back of the venue you had sort of more of an area where guys have been set up to sort of have chats really. Sort of David Pleasance would have been there, which I didn't unfortunately see him. I saw him in Blackpool. John Hare was there. Not sure, there's another guy from Sensible Software there as well. There's a few people behind the scenes. The Spectrum Next guys were there as well. So unfortunately I didn't realise that bit was there until I went home on a bloody Sunday. That's one of the dangers of getting to an event quite late. You've got to try and cram in what you can as quick as you can, which is impossible because the time it's open is not enough in the flipping first place. But anyway, that's off to my first pickup. So the first stall I came to, I rummaged through his Spectrum games because yeah, you never know if that tank is sat in there ready to be picked up. So there wasn't much in there that was of interest. The prices were quite good, and I come across a game I picked up quite recently for about 40 quid. And that game is Snoopy. This is the second copy I've got. I think this one only cost me 15 quid. Giving it a bit of a clean up. But yeah, the guy sort of said, oh, I wonder how long it takes for someone to find that game. Obviously they didn't find it because like the place had been open for like 4 hours. So yeah, not much knowledge around at the moment for especially Spectrum games or the 8-bit era. Even indeed the 16-bit home computers, to be honest. But there are some bargains out there to be had. So Snoopy was the first. Now next to this Scottish guy, never got his name, pretty much was Ant Harper. Now Ant Harper has his own channel, which I'm trying to remember what it's called, but I will leave links in the description box. And he has an amazing collection of 8-bit computers. Absolutely incredible. I mean, this guy's got 8,000 Sinclair Spectrum games, which is an absolutely incredible amount of cassettes to own. He's got a vast ZX81 collection, 500 games or 500 applications, whatever came out on that machine. But if you can go and check out his channel, but he's not done a video for quite some time, but his collection is brilliant. It's always nice to talk to Ant Harper. He's a very amenable character, very chatty. I mean, he had more Spectrum games behind. I was looking for obviously a few specifics. Come across a couple of bargains which I didn't pick up, to be honest, but I did inform them they were bargains. But yeah, one of them was like Head Over Heels, which I picked up a little while ago. It cost me almost 30 quid. But yeah, so he had a few bargains there, but again, nothing that I needed really for the collection. But it's always nice to see Ant. I think I first ever met Ant Harper at the Bristol Gaming Market. So yeah, then a little ways along from him was the man holding the Grail item, Dana, Dainster83. Again, check out his channel. He does very similar videos to Stu, UK, or the other guys who kind of do boot fairs and stuff like that, or car boots or booters or whatever. And recently found an amazing haul of toys. A lot of toys, like He-Man toys I haven't seen literally since the early 80s when my friends used to get them. I had a couple of figures, but my mate was really big into it. So yeah, so what he's done is he kept a game for me for about 7 months. So basically I got an email from Big Mike saying, Dana's got it. It almost reminds me of the scene out of Flipping Only Fools and Horses. Only bloody done it. But yeah, and he had pictures of Robocop 3. So I was like, whoa, really? So yeah, and then Dana got a hold of me not long after saying about the game and talking about it, and we kind of come up with an agreed price. He didn't want to send it to me without me seeing the actual item itself, which was great. But he held on to it for 7 months, and most people probably, even if you know what you got or you don't know what you got, but you know there's an interest in what you got, they tend to sell it. They tend to try and get the best price possible. But Dana didn't. He kept his word, and that's very rare actually, that I've known in my own lifetime. So absolutely amazing to do that. So thank you very much, Dana, for doing that. And also Liam. Liam was the guy who originally found the game, because the game was actually going to be chucked, put into a compactor of some description, and destroyed. So yeah, amazing for Liam to find it. I think he came in a bunch of other games as well. And it's amazing for Dainster to give me a shout, or give me a heads up really, and do a deal. And that game is Robocop 3, which you've probably already just seen that as I've been flicking it around a bit. But yeah, absolutely amazing. Fantastic to have it in the collection. It leaves me with that one more game to get, which is Tank, which is not as hard to get as this that I can think of. Because I've seen Tank before, but I've never seen this until the last few months really. And the first opportunity I had to get this was from a guy who lived locally to me. He literally had loads of games listed on eBay. I've sort of selected a few. So I think the first games I selected was Space Gun, Sly Spy, Battle Command, this, Tank, which he unfortunately just sold Tanks. That was a flipping nightmare. But yeah, I bought a load of Ocean games from him, really difficult ones to get. And then he set me a price for all the games. I bought the games from him except Robocop 3 because he mislaid it or couldn't find it. Now Robocop 3 is one of those games that if you sold it, you would know you sold it. So I thought, okay, sod's law in it. So his copy disappeared off the face of the earth. Obviously that's when Dana came in with his copy. And then all of a sudden I said to the guy, because I was still buying Ocean games from him, that I got a copy of Robocop 3. Then miraculously his copy appeared. Never mind. But that's what I mean. It's not some of the experiences you have to have a guy who says, right, this is the deal, shake hands on it. Obviously we didn't shake hands on it, but do you know what I mean? And stuck with it for 7 months is brilliant, and I can't thank the guy enough. So check out Dainster's channel, and Dana's fantastic. He does a lot of stalls with Liam. I mustn't forget Liam, because Liam is an integral part of this little story. But they both do events together. They both do like Doncaster or Birmingham Gaming Market, or they've been to Bristol Gaming Market. So check them out if you ever go to these events. And they do have a wide range of retro games for sale. And I'm surprised they didn't sell their multi-mega. I'm really surprised. The last day on the Sunday I went there, and their multi-mega was still bloody there. It's boxed. What more do you want for 300 flipping pounds? If you want a multi-mega for a decent price, give Dainster a shout. But yeah, Robocop 3, absolutely fantastic. This is not the last you're going to hear Robocop 3. Quite a long chalk. But yeah, really pleased to have it in the collection. So that's Dainster, that's Liam. Obviously Ant Harper we've already mentioned. So next, I think we headed up towards the second level, where they have like the cafeteria and the bar. And the sort of cafeteria area had sort of like 4 or 5 large tables, everyone sat around having a good old conversation. So I popped up there quite quickly and sort of sat down, I suppose, around some guys that I've been watching on YouTube for a bloody long time. So I sort of saw, first of all on the left hand side I saw the guys from Let's Talk Retro. So you had James and Colin. I mean, it's always a pleasure to see the two guys. James I didn't really speak to very much. He didn't really make a lot of eye contact with me. I think he's avoiding me, wasn't he, James? He avoided me, mate. Don't know why. But Colin, bless his cotton socks, gave me a gift. And he didn't give me this gift immediately, but he did come over and said, oh, I've got something for you. And gave me a shooter. I never heard of this shooter before, and I tried it out before making this video. And that game is called Delta Charge. But yeah, it's quite a late game to have, sort of like the Spectrum and Sam Coupe, as you can see there. It was a really late Spectrum release. And Sam Coupe was kind of like a Spectrum clone of some description, just more powerful. But yeah, lovely. Really nice to have this. So yeah, it's fully working. There's really nice touch there, James. I mean, another guy, I do like talking to James. Again, we've got very similar experiences, I suppose. And he's just such a nice chap. But he got it signed as well by Oliver Frey. So Oliver Frey did a lot of the artwork, didn't he, for Crash Magazine. But yeah, really chuffed to have that. It's always humbling when sort of like, I don't get gifts. I don't really feel comfortable receiving gifts, to be completely honest, because there's a lot of stigma attached to it. I've had a couple of guys offer me things before and you sort of like don't know what to do really. But yeah, so it's wonderful that he's given me that. So thank you very much to Colin, Let's Talk Retro. And obviously he co-hosts that show with James. That was the third game I got, the Sinclair Spectrum. Then I sat down with some of the YouTubers, especially ones I've never met before. Started talking to Retro Dave Nintendo. He was telling me about his finger techniques, and that is to do with arcade games. So he's on about how to play track and field at its, like, I suppose the most efficient way of playing track and field, yeah, because instead of doing the old button bashing, which is exactly what I would do, he's got his technique. We're almost like caressing those buttons. So it's fascinating listening to Dave, Retro Dave Nintendo, because I've been watching his videos for years as well. And I've seen his collection sort of grow and kind of change and evolve, which I think most, I wouldn't say mature collectors, but most collectors kind of go down that road if you're sort of running out of space or you want to sort of change direction. So it's fascinating listening to Dave. And he recently picked up a really difficult to get hit squad game, Darkman, which is bloody difficult to get on the Sinclair Spectrum. So we chatted for a little bit, and next to Dave was Cybersnake 7 Jay, again another chap I've never met in the flesh, but another absolutely fantastic chap, which I spoke to a little bit later when we got talking about FM Towns games. Because again, Jay focuses on similar, not similar things to me, but his collecting habits, I suppose, or technique is very similar. Again, we're all restricted for space, so he's kind of really focused on certain things like his Master System, his Super Nintendo is the pride and joy, Commodore 64. Got some Neo Geo AES games as well in the collection. Absolutely fantastic collection. So it's really great to meet Cybersnake Jay. Brilliant, actually. And from this event, I'd like to have spoke to these guys for a lot longer, but we're all trying to speak to each other. And I'm quite quiet, like I said. I'm not a naturally kind of butting. I think it's pretty bloody rude myself, but everyone's talking sort of to each other, and there's so much to do and see. It's hard to kind of get around, really, which is a shame. I was grabbed from behind, sounds a bit flipping wrong, doesn't it, by Nintendo Arcade, and that is a flipping character and a half. But yeah, straight away he came over and introduced himself, which I thought was amazing. Another very friendly chap, again, needs no introduction, like the other guys really, and he's got an amazing Super Nintendo collection, amazing arcade cabinets. I did have a game of Sky Skip, and I couldn't have a flipping clue what I was doing. I was enjoying the actual flying in the air and nosedive and hitting the flipping floor. I was trying to bomb those massive like gorillas, and they all just kept getting up, so I wasn't quite sure what I was doing. And someone mentioned to me it's about picking up cards and sequence. But yeah, it's fantastic to meet Alex. He's always asking why and answer his bloody question, which I will answer it. I've just got to really sort of think about it, because there's so many gaming memories, and what I was going to do is do a series like I did previously about the collection and talk about the gaming memories from specific games, and that's what I wanted to do anyway. So all your questions will be answered, my friend, in those videos. But it's a pleasure to meet Alex. Again, it's one of those people that if you sort of stood there on the sidelines, it'll kind of bring you in, because that's kind of like his nature. Very, very similar to Stu in that respect. Don't like to sort of see you sat on the sidelines. So yeah, really nice. But there's plenty of people sat around the table there. Very briefly got a glimpse of Burnt Out Culture. I think it was like a kid in a sweet shop when he was bloody here, there and everywhere. Old Mark. But yeah, so we kind of sat down for a bit. Then I got up and went to get a drink. Kind Kind of bumped into a few other people very briefly. Steve, Addy Sneaker Freak, a very brief chat with Steve. We met in Blackpool as well, but he was playing sensible soccer there with Cine Steve. Had a bit of a flipping competition going on there. As I was walking around this sort of arcade element, as the top had traders and arcade cabinets and more exhibitions. And the thing about Walsall, the actual event, is very organic and very intimate. Do you know what I mean? It felt very natural. Whereas something like Play Blackpool, the expos and that, they're very clinical, the way they're laid out. It's all very clean and tidy and in segments, and there's not really that kind of feeling of mixing, I suppose. Do you know what I mean? So you've got literally the traders right next to where you're going to play the arcades. Whereas in the big events, they're kind of all separated. But this is the event that most people enjoy the most, because it is like that. It's very, yeah, very intimate. But yeah, so I was walking around, I bumped into Jimmy Retro, another chap I've been looking forward to meeting. I mean, I've been watching Jimmy's channel now for quite some time. He was there with his lovely partner, Sally. So yeah, very, very nice to meet you two. I think we spoke more again on the Sunday than we did on the Saturday, because Saturday, like I said, we got there really late. And a lot of people have already been there for quite some time. Bumped into on a retro tip. I mean, he's one of the coolest characters in the whole scene. He really is such a nice bloke. I mean, again, very much like some of the other not more experienced, but he's been to a lot more of these events and they kind of get more involved in the community. They're very welcoming and it's great. It really is good, and I could listen to Pete all day long. We spoke a little bit on the Sunday as well about Fallout. I mean, both Fallout fans. I absolutely love the Fallout series, as does Pete, and obviously he's just moved home. And you know what it's like collecting games and moving home? It's an absolute bastard. And it's not something I recommend. So yeah, I don't envy you, Pete, but hope you'll get the games room set up. Be great to see it, mate. But a pleasure to see you as always. What else did I see? I bumped into Eddie a bit later on, Roller Core, and once I found Eddie, we actually went for a nice stroll around, buying some games. I mean, he was looking out for some Hit Squad games for his friend from the Commodore 64. He was buying stuff up left, right and centre as soon as he saw some decent Amiga games. I think I showed him a copy of Silkworm on the Amiga for 15 quid, so fingers crossed that worked for you, mate, because that was a decent price for Silkworm. It's a bloody good shooter as well. I spent quite a bit of time with Eddie, Roller Core. It was great to see him. Very briefly saw Glory Hunter 82, Scott, very briefly on the first day. Even on the second day, I think he looked a bit tentative. I think he had a bit too much booze. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to catch up. And again, we've got similarities with the old PlayStation 3 collector's editions, really. But again, I spoke to Glory Hunter more on the Sunday. On the Sunday, I just felt more awake than I did on the Saturday, to be completely honest. Yeah, good old Gruss Newton. I remember bumping into Gruss just up by the arcade. As I was speaking to Jimmy Retro, actually, he was like staggering to stand still. Had a few drinky poos. He's enjoying himself, though. You know what I mean? It's nice to see Russ. I met Russ at Blackpool. Again, he's a bit intoxicated there and all. But yeah, lovely to see Russ. And there's also saw Paul, Big Daddy C. Again, very briefly. A lot of these guys are very, very brief encounters. Finally met Craig's here again, the legend, the collecting legend. I mean, he sometimes leaves comments on my videos. I've always seen him leaving comments, and his channel's been around forever. Don't think he does much on there anymore, but by all accounts, he's called the Banana Box Man. But I'd love to get to an actual, I suppose, a gaming market when he's there and see what he's got for sale, really. But yeah, apparently he's got absolutely some fantastic pieces, especially sort of Japanese stuff as well. But yes, yeah, it's a pleasure meeting Rob, who I always thought was called Craig, but there's Rob. Lots of Robs, lots of Craigs, and lots of Scotts. But yeah, it's cracking, really. I mean, the event itself, like I said, like I intimated, is very, very... There's a lot to do for a surprisingly small venue. You just haven't got the space, and I think a lot of it is to do with that community feel to it. There's lots of other people I saw there. Scott Brand. How can I forget Scott Brand? I think I saw Scott Brand or Sega Zombie mostly on the Sunday. We spent a good bit of time on the Sunday, actually. Again, very similar to Roller Core. We just walked around looking for stuff to buy, really. And Scott was there with his nephew Shaq, and he was there with his friend Ian Stewart. And Ian Stewart showed me some of the pictures from his near full set PAL SNES collection, which is bloody some feat, some amazing feat. And he doesn't just collect for that system, he collects for many. He was talking briefly about starting up a YouTube channel, but again, like with many of us, it's getting that confidence just to do it. So get on it, mate. Get on it. If I can do it, any sod can do it. But it's a pleasure to meet Ian, a pleasure to meet Sega Zombie, and a pleasure to meet Shaq, who went missing for a bit, so he must have had a good night on a Saturday night. Now it's a shame I missed the Saturday night for whatever reason, but I kind of, one thing I do regret is not going on the Saturday night. And it's certainly something I'll rectify, because I really enjoyed the Friday night meetup at Blackpool. Really enjoyed that. And the Saturday night went up for quite a meal, I think. But again, the social aspect of it, I think, is where it's at in terms of the sort of after event drinky poo. So yeah, I did miss that. There's obviously some mishaps happened there, so I'm glad to hear Mark Burnout Culture is good. It's okay. Got his camera nicked and all the rest of it, which is flipping shocking, really. But yeah, I'm glad he's alright though. He's done a video on Revival as well, so there's plenty of people out there doing them. But yeah, there's not any footage of the actual event, so if you want to see that, pop up to Scott Brand Sega Zombies channel. But that's it. So yeah, let's go through a few more pickups. So whilst I was walking around with Roller Core, come across Sore Thumbs Games. So Sore Thumbs Games, I've heard of before. They've been highly sort of recommended by guys in the community. Based in York, I think. The guy was there by himself by the looks of it, and I picked up a couple of Atari 2600 games I've been after for flipping ages. And to get these for about, I think they're 15 quid each, including protected box. Grand Prix. Now if you've ever played Grand Prix before, it's rock hard. Bloody is, nothing on the back of it. But I picked these up for 15 quid each. They probably could go slightly cheaper. But like Silly Steve alluded in his own video, you start paying postage costs and trying to find them in decent condition without any sort of crushing to the sides is great. So I've been after this one. This is on my list of games to get. And the other one is an equally brutal game, which I never really understood how to play this as a kid. So I watched a video on it by, I think it might have been Novabug or somebody. That's Dragster. You literally got to go through the gears in the right sequence. The quicker you do it in the right sequence, the quicker obviously you kind of win the race. But again, not much to it. Again, 15 quid, doesn't come up very often boxed. Neither of these games do actually. So it's nice to have a couple more garish colours in the collection, which is fantastic. Right, what else should I get on my travels? So Silly Steve, you've got the wrong screen there. Silly Steve was bringing some discs for me to complete a recently acquired Domark Tengen box set, and that is the Star Wars trilogy. We brought the actual floppy discs over, so I can actually have a complete boxed copy of the game. So thank you very much, Silly Steve. That's very nice of you, mate. So that is another complete game. Forgot to mention as well, Danester, look at that on bloody screen. Danester also gave me a CPC disc copy of Driller. We've sort of talked about Driller, I think, briefly at, it might have been the Bristol Gaming Market actually, so really nice to have this. I had this on the Spectrum originally. I can imagine the Amstrad one being quite similar. It comes with all its bits and bobs in there. I've got to set my Amstrad up at some point and test a load of games anyway, so I've got quite a few Amstrad disc games at the minute I've got to test. So thank you very much, Dangster. 83, much appreciated. Scott Brands gave me a box for Return of the Jedi, going for the Atari 2600, so all I need is the cartridge, which should only probably cost me a couple of quid. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. So thank you again, Scott. Brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. I'm after The Empire Strikes Back, because that's the game I played as a kid. Now Big Mike, he gave me a couple of gifts, like I said before setting off to the event. One was Speedball, I'll say Speedball 2. Speedball, which is the last Bitmap Brothers game I need to complete that subset. Nowhere near as good in my opinion as the second one, because it looks quite dated actually. It's a bit like how Xenon looked compared to Xenon 2. It's a substantial change in graphics, and it plays really well, but don't play as well as the second one. What else? I'm trying to think what else. Like I said, Sunday was a better day for me. I was more awake. Spent a lot more time with Sega Zombie. Had a good chat with On a Retro Tip Pete. But yeah, some people, it's a shame I never really got back and had a conversation with them, to be honest. I think that's pretty much everyone I've captured. If there's anybody I've missed, please leave a comment below and call me a twat, or whatever you want. But yeah, just going through Sega Zombies list here. I think I've captured everybody. I think I saw roughly the same people as himself, really. I saw Neil there as well. from the man cave, but he was engaged in a deep conversation with, I'm sure someone said it's a program or something to do with Head Over Heels. So yeah, obviously I didn't butt in, but it was nice to see. I met Neil briefly again in Blackpool, but he's a man in demand. And his channel is absolutely fantastic. I mean, everyone who watches this channel probably watches Retro Man Cave anyway, but absolutely brilliant. He's a really nice, modest guy. He really is. I mean, he'll quite happily sort of stand around and take questions, really, and people approach him, and he's very amenable. But yeah, so I'd like to catch up with Neil, possibly at Blackpool if he's there. But yeah, really nice bloke. He's kind of got similar sort of experiences to me in sorts of games he likes, really, on the Amiga and the 16-bit machines. But yeah, so yeah, interestingly, now back to the Robocop 3 story. So I had the guy down the road who shafted me, really. I had Dangster, stand-up guy, got me a copy of Robocop 3 at the agreed price, and some months later on eBay a copy came up with 2 other games. I nearly choked on my food. I was eating my dinner at the time, and it came up. I think it was like £20, buy it now. So I was like, wow, get the fuck in there. So I picked that game up again for 20 quid. So what I've done is I've kept the box from that one because the box was nice. I kept the manual from Dangster's copy. I used the ocean bag that Scott Brown gave me once the dog started licking the sort of white powdery stuff out of it. And I had a complete box set, so I have got a complete Robocop 3. I mean, this box literally came up. I was flipping shocked to see it. So not only is it highly uncommon to see 1 copy, but to have 2 is absolutely ridiculous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to list, obviously, the incomplete one on eBay, and the idea is to recoup the money I spent on obviously buying the full complete one, which is going straight into the collection. Now if it does reach certain levels of amounts, all I want is to get the money back that I paid Dangster for his copy. Anything above and beyond that will go straight to Dangster and Liam. Not that I expect that to happen, but if it does happen, because at the end of the day, that's the right thing to do in my mind. So we'll list it. I can't imagine it'd go for a flipping fortune, but it is a really difficult to get game. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do with that game. So it's very lucky to find it, and sometimes that happens. I mean, you come across a game like I was after on the CD32 for ages, like Paws of Fury, and you pay over the odds for it, and it comes out and you box and it goes for less. It's like, fucking hell, just sod's law. But there's no value on the game because it's that difficult to find. And I know there's quite a few Ocean collectors out there who would love to have that in their collections. It does go above and beyond what I paid for it. The rest then goes to Liam and Dangster. I think that's the only fair way of doing it. But I had no choice but to buy it because you never know. That just does not come up at all. And if something could have gone wrong with my own deal, who knows? But yeah, it's not about profiteering for it. So I paid a fair price for it. But if it goes for more, the difference will go to those 2 lads. Just for holding on to it for me. So yeah. But that's it. That is it. I'm trying to think if I missed anybody else out, names wise. It's always a sod when you do that. There's people there that I kind of recognise, but I don't know them that well enough. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I probably see their videos, but don't leave comments or whatever. You've only got to find out amount of time to do this anyway, haven't you, really? But yeah, if I go again, it'll certainly be, I'll try and get there early. I'll definitely go out in the after party. I think that would have been the better approach. I mean, literally, it was a bit of a rush, really. Which was a shame, but it was great. It was a great event. Like I said, it's actually a fantastic event. I'm just trying to think what else I saw. I mean, Craig's here again. I think I already mentioned Craig. Rob Craig. Ah, Craig, that's it. Minx 36, I want to say. 32, 36. Minx 36. Again, very briefly met Craig there. Again, I mean, a lovely bloke. I mean, I would have loved to spend more time with Craig. I spent a bit more time in Blackpool, but again, not a lot. There's just so much going on. But yeah, I can't think of any other names that I bumped into. Lee, Retro Gamer Addicts. Lee, it's not called that anymore, it's called something else. Calling All Nerds. Again, very briefly said hello. But that's about as far as my memory takes me. So if I missed your name, do apologise. I sincerely apologise, not just saying it, but yeah. That's it. I can't think of anything else to say in this particular video that I haven't already said. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. Please check out the other guys that have done revival videos. There's been about half a dozen now. I know Burnt Out Culture's done one, Jimmy Retro's done one, Sega Zombie's done one, and there's been a few others that I don't really know too well. But check them out anyway. I'll see you again real soon. So take care and bye for now.